Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm going to read another poem from the book, full-length poetry book entitled Eulogy, that I am attempting to get published. Oh, here's a mess. Oh, whatever. Anyway, so I did the first video, and I decided to do another video. Um, so, number 2 video. Sorry for the really shoddy quality of this video. The shite quality. Shitty quality. Or just whatever. It's bad quality. You know what I mean. I don't know why. I mean, is it just like, I'm not technically an adept. So, possibly, why would this laptop just have such a bad camera? I don't know. So, maybe somebody can help me with that. Tell me what do I need to do? I'm sure it costs money, but we'll try to figure it out. This one is entitled Platitudes for Sean. When Sean died, you said, he's in a better place. I heard. How selfish of me to grieve when I should celebrate him there. I felt, but the best place for him is with me. When Sean died, you said, it was God's plan, it was God's will. I heard, my plans with Sean don't matter, only God's plan matters. I felt, but why? That seems cruelly arbitrary. When Sean died, you said, God needed him more than we did. I heard, what we need doesn't matter. I felt guilty. This God must be wrong because it hurts too much, and I need him back. My grief, our grief, still clings. When Sean died, you said, he was too good for this world. I heard, he must have been too good for me, since I remain of this world. I felt unworthy of his love, and now that he's gone, I'll never know if I deserved him. So every future love will carry that question for him. When Sean died, you said, everything happens for a reason. I heard, don't be sad. There's a logical explanation for why this happened. I felt, no reason fits this pain. Any reason I invent is just a story, just an offering to balance the scales of agony. When Sean died, you said, time heals all wounds. I heard, you'll get over it. I felt, not possible. Because once I love someone, I always do. Love doesn't disintegrate or die. Love leaves its tenacious touch on every fragment of us. When Sean died, you said, Sean wouldn't have wanted you to be sad. I heard, you don't care about Sean. You just want me to stop being inconvenient. I felt guilt for loving him deeply, guilt for missing him too much, guilt for grieving honestly. When Sean died, you said, he's at peace now. I heard, he was miserable here with me. Isn't it nice that he doesn't have to suffer anymore? I felt like I failed him, like I was unworthy of his peace, like I should be glad he left. When Sean died, you said, you're so young, you're so pretty. I heard, this isn't a real loss. You'll find someone else. I felt, youth and beauty must be more valuable and enduring qualities than connection or memory or love. My grief, brief, forgettable, youth and beauty were my consolation prize. When Sean died, you said, I know how you feel. I heard, your pain isn't unique. This happens to everyone. I felt alone, more alone than ever, No one knew how I felt, not even me. When Sean died, you said, remember the good times. I heard nothing that helped. I felt everything. So, the end. Thank you for listening. And that's a really big part of the problem with how we don't grieve in this society is platitudes, cliches, all the things we say because we're afraid and we think that we're going to say the wrong thing, or we don't know what to say. Okay, so these cliches, though, they don't. I wrote this poem to try to express to others what it feels like when you are told these things. You know, um, and I hope that. Well, I hope. I know. I know. There's almost, what, like 8 billion people on the planet? We have got billions of sufferers mourning and grieving right now, privately, inside. And guess what happens when you keep it inside? It doesn't heal. It festers. And it becomes a oozing, fluid-filled wound. Because what happens is, if you don't feel your grief, you will feel it in a really negative way eventually. Ah, I think a lot of you will know what I'm talking about. Drugs and alcohol is the main thing. Then there's suicide. Grief is fatal. You know, grief is fatal. I wish we were talking about grief. That's why I said my mantra ever since um, Sean died was, this is my fiance. He died many decades ago. He died in 1985. He was 20 and I was 18, just about to turn 19, but extremely young. And well, that's just, I'll get to more of that story probably later, but Sean has inspired my whole lifelong, um, my whole lifelong interest, obviously, in death and grief. But because of what happened to me, I didn't know how to grieve, and I didn't know what to do, how to feel. Nobody seemed to know how to help me at all. And it was like, it seemed like people just didn't want to mention his name, which felt really awkward because he was still in me. He had created a part of me. Part of me was created anew by our union because he was the love of my life, still actually. Don't be sad for me. That's okay. Well, maybe it'll happen again. But I've had other loves. It's okay. um, but he was a different, a connection that was very bizarre. I thought that was just regular love. I thought that's how everybody felt, that when you look in the other's eyes and you drop in and you just stare for hours. I mean, it was just incredible. It was an amazing experience. Um, Becoming friends with Sean, meeting Sean, knowing Sean, seeing Sean in a dream, actually, before I even met him, which is something I do every so often, which is, whatever that is. I don't know. I'm not a mystic, but our brains are sure strange and hard to understand. But that's neither here nor there. We are easily learning. I have a lot of tangents, so I don't even know where it was. Oh, just what happened to me is I developed what they call pathological grief. It took like 22 years for me to even find the right treatment for my grief, because I was traumatized. It was a sudden, shocking death with a gunshot to the head. Well, I guess I may as well tell you. I was told that he was going to make a video for me that night, because I was in California and waiting for him. He was in Virginia, and I was waiting for him to get his tax return. It was February. Waiting for his he was waiting for his tax return. He has money ready, his car, everything, and he's driving out to Sacramento, where I was, and then we were driving to LA because that's where we want to live. And we were engaged to be married. We've been together about 2.5 years. Met in high school. He lived with us. We had a very intense relationship. I was an alcoholic. Okay, I'm telling you way too much. Anyway, I mean, I'm going to too many divergent tangents. I apologize. The point is, I want to bring grief out of the closet, because what happened to me, I believe and will know is happening to billions of people, and has always been happening to them, but especially since a certain time period, more recently. But that's another topic I'll talk about at some time. But the point is, grief doesn't have to become ugly. And see, that's the other book I'm working on, which is not a poetry book. It's called The Ugly Face of Grief, and it's about pathological grief, or complicated grief, I think they call it now, or something. I don't know what it is in the DSM, but you know, for the mental health labels that they create and name. I don't know what it's called. But either way, it was not pretty. It was bad. It was bad. But I didn't know. What the hell? What the hell? I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. And nobody knew what to do with me. I was devastated. I just lost my entire life. Lost everything. I lost my life. Sean was my life. He was my life, my future, my partner, my soulmate, my lover, my best friend. He was everything. He was everything. And I still miss him. I still miss that man. Oh, that's right, I was saying. So his mom told me that, when I got to his home, where he was getting ready to, move to Sacramento, where I was in Sacramento because of a detox, because of my alcoholism. But it's a whole convoluted story that I'm not going to get into now. Either way, he's, getting ready to move. And he's going to make a video for me. So he takes a shower, gets out of the shower, and there's no towel, and he's naked, and he goes into his bedroom across the hallway. And for whatever reason, there's a towel on the top shelf of his bedroom closet. And he goes up and grabs that towel, and on top of it is a little handgun that somebody had given him because he had been mugged. After a gig, he was a bassist in a band, after a gig in Georgetown, and he had been mugged, so somebody gave him a gun, and he pulls his towel down to dry himself. The gun's on top, and hair trigger goes off in his head. Yeah, it doesn't sound right at all, I know. But I just believed it. A tragic accident. It was a tragic accident. Anyway, I ended up having a very dark grief. Ugly, as I say. I had Sean mares, is what I call them, because they're such specific nightmares of horrific dying, death, blood, gunshot, everything. It just that's all good. I've written all about that too. Um, the point is, why did I go through that? Why did I go through that? I didn't have to. I should never have gone through that, and neither should any of you have to go through that. That is not right. That is not. We are not a society. We are not a society taking care of each other. We already know that. That's already the truth. Or else we'd at least have health care, for fuck's sake. So we're not a society taking care of each other at all, or in minimal ways. But you know what? Not in the big important ways like health care. And guess what else? Mental health care. And guess what else? Trauma. And guess what else? That's death, death, death. Okay? We, the bereaved, are silent. We, the bereaved, are just afraid to say anything, afraid to do anything. And nobody talks to us except for those first like few weeks. There's actually a 3-month window, it seems like. After 3 months, it's like, boom, it's over, it's done, whatever. 3 months, that's, grief is a lifelong process, I learned. I also learned something really unusual that I didn't know. Grief is a new relationship with the person. It doesn't, your relationship doesn't actually end. It just changes. And that's a big topic that we'll talk more about. Um, yeah, thanks for listening. I was just gonna read the poem, but um, I'm a tangent rambler, uh, going off topic, or well, on topic, but so many topics. There's so many trails that lead to. Oh my gosh, we just it's we all we have to do is feel our feelings. So that's how we grieve. We feel our feelings. And the other people that they sit and listen, and they can say I'm sorry, offer a hug, sit and listen. Say, hey, what other story would you like to tell me? Or what's your favorite time you had with them? Or what was the weirdest time you had with them? Or what was the funny thing that happened with them? Or embarrassing thing? You're like, let the bereaved talk about their loved ones. What's going on with this silence? And the families that are destroyed, don't get me started. My fucking, God damn it. My Sean, his family, not right. What happened to them? It's not right. You know what's really upsetting to me? It's not right that his family was destroyed by his death. Because that's not the legacy that he should be leaving. Because he was so funny and so talented. He was a brilliant, beautiful, goofy, crazy ass, fun loving, above all, empathetic and caring human being. You say that life went away, all the other lives just shatter. That's the legacy. That's not the right legacy. It feels wrong. It feels so wrong to me. That can't be his. It can't be his legacy. I've always wanted to do something, for him, a music school, or just any, just book, the book. Then the book came a couple decades ago. Actually, I wrote the book, um, but I haven't been very good at submitting. I submitted it to 7 independent publishers, and they all declined it because it didn't really fit in a genre. So I've and reworked, and I realized, and I always realized something was just, what's wrong, what's missing, what are we doing with this book? Is it a memoir? Is it a talking about just what grief feels like? Because there's journal writings, there's the Sean Mayers, there's um, a talking about grief, what it felt like, year after year after year, and how it changed, and what actually helped the healing. What the specific therapy, and what specific things I had to do to really fight this grief monster, this grief beast that was consuming me, and I was feeding it. Wow. And it was a sick relationship with a demon, demon named grief. And that sure can and did change my life. And it took too long to find my road to health. And that's not right. That's why I say we need to bring grief out of the closet and teach each other what to do or say. Teach each other what you're going to feel. There's books out there, but they tend to be memoirs, which is fine. That's great, because you can say, oh, you can read somebody's memoir about their dead loved one, and you relate to it in parts. It's like, oh, I felt that too. I felt that. That's beautiful and healing. But I feel like we almost need like a roadmap. And even there is on grief and grieving. What's it called on grief and um? I have it. I think it's right over there actually. But that's an excellent book. It really delves into the different things about grief. But I think it doesn't talk about um, pathological grief. So I feel like what's missing is how grief is just hidden and secretive, and how people are afraid of the bereaved. So the bereaved are afraid of themselves too. It's like more scary, because the bereaved are what? They're close to death. They're grieving because somebody died. And I guess that scares people. But people need to learn um, to say nothing but I'm sorry, and to do nothing but hug and sit silently. And if you can hold that space for somebody, if you can sit silently with somebody, hold that space for them, that's literally all they need. But they might need it every day. They might need it every day for 2 years, and then not for a few years, and then 10 years later they need it again every day. I mean, are you a friend or not? I mean, are you a family member, a friend? Are you somebody that loves the person? Are you the person? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Got to get grief out of the closet. So that story of Sean's death, it took 22 years for me to find out that it's more likely that he committed suicide. And there was alcohol and cocaine in his system. I found all this out decades after he died. Uh, there was alcohol and cocaine in his system. He had become a cocaine addict as well while I was an alcoholic detoxing. And the gun was held like in his right hand to his right temple, and that's boom where the shot was. That the discharging or misfiring or whatever it's called off the bath towel off the shelf into his head just doesn't seem like it would be right there. That's it. Yeah, it's been a hard one. I had a therapist once say, "Does it matter?" And I said, "Yeah, it matters." I, Hello? What the fuck? Yes, it matters. Yes, it matters. If it's a tragic accident, it's a tragic accident. Those things happen, and they're horrible. But if he committed suicide, he's felt the pain. He was feeling the pain that I have felt, that I've been there many times. I have depression, dis disorder, and that means that he was there and he didn't tell me. And that's hard because I was going through detox, and so every day on the phone, he's supporting me, supporting me. He is holding me up together. He is my rock, always was my rock. He held me together. He glued me. He took this broken child and made her a whole woman. He did that. While he was feeling the same things I had felt. And he didn't tell me. He did not tell me. And he killed himself. And I'm so sorry. And I'm so sorry for that. Because I feel like I've learned in my own suicidal ideation and attempts that I think what happens sometimes is that you think about it so much and you plan it and you get it figured out, you're going to do it and how you're going to do it, etc. And then I think, especially if you're drinking and taking drugs, any drugs, but especially alcohol as a toxic motherfucker, um, you you especially with the alcohol, I think it's almost like you just really quick, boom, it's just like accidentally you kill yourself. I don't mean accidentally like you never meant to. I mean, you wanted to. You've thought about it. Something's going on. And I know what they are. I know what some things are for Sean that were going on. Now, I learned years later. And I surmised some things, just knowing him. So I know what happened. Uh, I think I know what happened in his head, basically, a little bit. And the alcohol is just going to make you, your previous thoughts you've had, and your decision, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Just get, messed up enough to be like, yeah, it's going to be better for me to be gone. Everybody's going to be better off. for me to be gone, because I'm just not, things just aren't working out for me, and and I've become a cocaine addict, and I can't, how can I tell Kim that when she's an alcoholic in detox, right, literally right now, as we speak, and on the phone and speaking. Yeah. So sometimes I think suicide happens because people just have the ideation for so long, and then just the right elements of maybe exhaustion, maybe drugs, and maybe alcohol, and they're like, boom! It just kind of like they just do it. They just do it real quick, and that's why I say like it's almost like they accidentally do it because they just do it real quick. Because I remember I used to drive home from work. My kids were little, and if I was going through an episode, and I'd drive home from work, and there was this one spot where there was like a no guardrail and a little cliff overhang. So I would drive, and sometimes it seems kind of funny. I mean, I know it's not funny, but you kind of have to laugh at this shit. Uh, Eventually, I'm driving, I'm like forcing myself not to, veer off and Thelma and Louise myself into oblivion. Oh my God, I'm sorry, that was not funny, but it's like crazy because it is funny. You have to laugh though, because if you don't laugh, you take it. It's almost like you're gonna take it too seriously. I'm glad I can laugh about it, and I'm glad I'm still here. I'm really grateful for my life. I just need to. I'm just finally ready to um, go forward with my works that I have, my writings. My kids are all grown up. I'm a grandma now too, so I mean I have the time now. Oh, and it's called degenerative disc disease. That's what I have. The first video I couldn't remember the basic back spine issue I have. Anyway, so thanks for listening. If you've listened, okay, this got a little long. I'm sorry. I don't even know how this gets out to anybody, but I hope it does. I hope it helps somebody. I hope I'm not doing something. Am I doing something wrong by sharing all this? No. We don't share. That's what's wrong. We don't feel our feelings. That's what's wrong. We shut up about the deceased. That's what's wrong. We even put away their photos and hide away their belongings sometimes. All kinds of people do all kinds of different things. There is no one way, two-way, three-way. There are many, many, many ways. But they're all similar. Sorry, my eyes are a little dry. They're all similar, like, similar if you really study it, and we need more people studying this and bringing it out with into the public sphere, and with books and with talks and with that stuff. So I'm trying to get it, but I'm just getting rejected by publishers. So it's like it's hard. Selling a poetry book is very difficult, and I knew that, but it felt like this should be the first thing I do is the poetry book, and then the ugly face of grief, and then I've got uh, works a novel I'm working on after that. If you, why would you care? Sorry, I don't know why I told you that. Anyway, all right, bye. I appreciate you. Bye. Mwah.